Thank you, Nintendo, for ruining the gaming industry as we know it. Now, a lot of people are blaming Nintendo for Xbox raising prices, and, well, they're absolutely correct. Xbox did state that while Nintendo prices increased for their games and accessories may have been a factor, Microsoft stated that the market conditions and rising development costs were the main reason for their own price hikes. Now, rising development costs have always been a reason for raising prices, but that threshold of $70 to $80 has always been something that the gaming industry was hesitant to pursue. And Nintendo just dove right into that price the second they announced the Nintendo Switch 2 because they knew that the demand was enough to maybe push their first party titles to $80. And that is all that Xbox and potentially PlayStation needed in order to push their prices. But PlayStation has been known to say some really dumb things in their past. But I would say out of any gaming company's track record, PlayStation holds the most honest. Xbox has done unsavory things in the past with Xbox One, and while Nintendo has always done unsavory things alongside their good things. It's been really wishy-washy with Nintendo over the course of the last 20 years alone. So me personally, as a consumer, I've never 100% trusted Nintendo. They're sort of the mix of Xbox and PlayStation in my mind. They want quality, but they also want a lot of money for barely any kind of effort put into their games. Most of their games look the same. That's just a fact. You have to literally be blind to disagree with that. And of course, they are one of the top 3 gaming companies in the industry. And Xbox is the most desperate in the industry, like buying all kinds of studios in order to make their games lineup that much more appealing and monopolizing the industry first and foremost. While PlayStation usually sits back and sees all the wrong that the other companies do and then does something better. I think PlayStation's going to impress us with their decisions on this. I don't think they're going to give in to the $80 because Xbox was losing for a long time and they admitted it. They've lost. So why not just say screw it and make your games and hardware 20 to 50% more expensive? But for people that were denying that Xbox raised their prices because of Nintendo, they said it themselves. It wasn't 100% because of Nintendo. Just like Joker said, all they needed was a tiny little push in order to make that crazy decision to jump to the $80 price and also raise their hardware prices. And yes, you can blame the potentially upcoming tariffs, but they're not in effect yet. So the decisions that these companies are making are fully by themselves and without any active influences. Nintendo made this decision to push their first party titles to $80 because of greed. As simple as that. They could have sold plenty of copies and made plenty of money on $70, and they've just increased their prices to $70 very recently. So to bring their games to $80 so soon isn't because of the cost it is to make games. While Microsoft does say that it's because of the cost that they increased their prices, they didn't say anything about Nintendo's reasoning, first of all, because they're not Nintendo, and Nintendo will never say the reasons why they do it. It's because of greed, because they're greedy and they want money, they want a mansion. Maybe they were looking at a car one day, they're like, hey, that'd be really nice. What if we increase the prices by $10? That'd be great. I could get that Lamborghini I've always wanted. It's because of a stupid little conversation that these greedy bastards have every once in a while, and then they laugh about it. And the little guy always pays. This is how it always is. And guess what we get? Little newscasts on our phone and newspapers telling us, hey, this is the way it's going to be. You. And I think the most laughable part of our community is the fact that some people actually defend companies like Nintendo that are blatantly greedy without reason. And we all know the silent guy is the most guilty. And Nintendo is that silent guy. They're the shy guy in the corner that aren't saying anything because they know that they picked these prices and they're sticking to them because they need those prices. They want those prices badly. They're going to make a lot of money out of Americans. And this is just the way it's going to be. Well, guess what? I'm not going to buy those games. Not buying $80 games. Sorry about that. And I hope that Nintendo ends up like Xbox one day. And Xbox comes from a very rich company named Microsoft. Trillionaires that made a video game company to make more money, but they ended up losing a lot more than they made and ended up going broke. Now, of course, Microsoft can always resurrect because they have that much money, but Nintendo isn't in that kind of position. Sure, they made a lot of money from Nintendo Switch, but they don't have Microsoft type money. They don't have resurrection money. If they die, they'll probably stay dead and end up like Sega. And guess what? It's most likely going to happen in the next 5 years. We're going to see a huge decline in their actual software. They're going to sell the Nintendo Switch 2 at a huge loss. Most likely they wanted to sell it for $350, but they went $450 because they knew that a lot of people were going to sell their Nintendo Switch 1s for probably $100. And I think it's $175 for Nintendo Switch OLED, but most people don't have the OLED. They have the original Switch or the Switch Lite. So Nintendo thought that was most likely going to happen. So that's why it's $175 to $150 more than the original Nintendo Switch because they knew that people were going to sell their original ones, which was going to put a little dent in their pocket. So I'm assuming they're either breaking even with the Nintendo Switch 2 or they're losing a tiny bit of money, and that's why they push themselves to raise the prices of their games to $80. Well, in my opinion, they should have just made the damn system $500 and $550. Then this wouldn't be an issue. If system sales are that important that you would disrupt gaming industry prices, then just sell the system for more. I wouldn't mind paying a little more once instead of paying more for the rest of my life. And with all these upgrade packs being $10 to $20, there's no way it's going to appeal to people that already have a Nintendo Switch 1. Hell, I'm looking at my Nintendo Switch Lite like it's actually made out of solid gold because I know that one day it's going to be priceless due to all of these companies abandoning physical games. Instead of taking out a second mortgage on my house, I could just sell Tears of the Kingdom for $2,000 and we're good. But yeah, guys, what do you think about this price hike and everybody doubting that it isn't Nintendo's fault? It's obviously their damn fault. It hasn't even passed 2 weeks and you got all these companies raising their prices after seeing those sweet pre-order sales. I really want some of these Nintendo YouTubers to stop being so fucking delusional. It's really pissing me off. The only thing worse than companies straight up just stealing from us and telling us to their face that they're going to do it regardless of if we like it or not is the people going along with it and amping everyone else to support these terrible, terrible practices. So yeah, thank you, Nintendo.